Welcome to the Deep Dive. We're here to unpack the hidden forces shaping our lives, bring you insights that can really make a difference. Today, we're digging into a really powerful truth, that the smallest shifts, tiny little changes, can actually ignite the biggest transformations in your life. We're cracking open James Clear's, well, honestly, game-changing book, Atomic Habits, to get at its core secret. Our mission here is simple. Pull out the most potent ideas from his work, help you understand how tiny daily actions can help you become who you really want to be, without some massive, overwhelming effort.
Yeah, it's a book that's really reshaped how a lot of people think about personal development, about behavior change. I think its impact comes from giving you not just theory, but a really practical, actionable blueprint, something anyone can actually use.
Okay, so let's start there. Let's nail down what Clear actually means by atomic habits. It's kind of an interesting phrase. When we say
Yeah.
atomic, what are we really talking about?
Well, think super tiny, right?
Yeah.
Subtle, almost invisible sometimes, but also fundamental, like the basic building block of something bigger.
Okay, tiny but fundamental. And habits. That part seems straightforward.
Yeah, habits are just those routine actions, the things you do over and over, often, without even thinking about it, your defaults. But here's the fascinating part. The core idea from Clear, real lasting change. It doesn't come from those huge dramatic makeovers we often aim for. Instead, it accumulates, it builds up from doing these tiny atomic habits consistently day after day. He talks about this concept of compound growth, which is, well, it's mind-blowing when you grasp it. Imagine just getting 1% better each day. It doesn't sound like much, does it?
No, not really. It seems slow.
Right. But Clear shows that just 1% improvement daily, compounded over a year, it doesn't just add up, it multiplies. You end up nearly 37 times better.
Wait, 37 times better?
Yeah.
Just from 1% a day?
37 times. He calls it the miracle of small improvements. And it's a miracle partly because our brains, well, they aren't wired to really understand that kind of exponential growth easily. We tend to dismiss those tiny efforts, But over time, they become these unstoppable forces.
Wow. Okay, that's simple math. It feels almost counterintuitive, but it reveals so much potential. It really makes you rethink what's possible for yourself, doesn't it?
Right.
Whether you want to learn something new, get healthier, focus better, we're always looking for that giant leap, when the real power might just be in that tiny, almost invisible step. So if that's the power of the small action, the next big idea, and maybe the real engine of change, according to Clear, is identity. Okay, let's unpack that. He's
Yeah.
saying it's not just about what you do, it's about who you're becoming.
Exactly. This is a really profound shift he highlights. You move from asking, what result do I want? Like, I want to lose weight or I want to write a book.
Mhm.
Instead, you ask a much deeper question. Who is the type of person that could get this result? Or simply, who do I want to be? This identity-based approach, it's really the core of making changes stick. Your habits become evidence, proof of the kind of person you see yourself as. He uses this great example. Instead of focusing only on the goal, I want to run a marathon,
Right.
the shift is towards the identity. I want to be a runner. When you start thinking like a runner, acting like a runner, even in small ways, you're not just forcing yourself. You're aligning your actions with who you believe you are. It feels more natural. Your brain actually starts reinforcing those pathways. It makes it easier and easier to just be that person.
That's a huge reframing, isn't it? It means every little thing you do.
Yeah.
It's like casting a vote for the person you're becoming. So skipping the gym isn't just skipping a workout. It's a vote for, I'm not the kind of person who exercises.
Precisely.
But putting on your running shoes, even if you only go for 5 minutes, that's a vote for, I am a runner.
Yes, you're reinforcing that identity with every small win.
It really makes you think about the weight of those small, everyday choices. They add up to who you are. Okay, so if identity is the who, the next big question is, how? How do we actually build these identity-shaping habits? This is where Clear gives us that practical roadmap, right? The 4 laws of behavior change.
Exactly. This is where it gets really practical. And his genius, I think, is making these complex behavioral ideas super simple and applicable. So the first law is make it obvious.
Make it obvious. Okay.
This is all about cues. We're hugely influenced by what's around us, often unconsciously. So make the cues for your good habits really visible. Hard to ignore, like his example. Want to read more? Don't just think about it. Put the book right on your pillow or next to the coffee machine, somewhere you literally can't miss it.
Okay, so you're engineering your environment to trigger the habit.
You got it. Reduce the mental effort needed just to start. Then, law 2. Make it attractive.
Attractive. How does that work?
Well, Our brains love pleasure. They chase rewards. So you need to link the habit you want to build with something you already enjoy. Create that feeling of wanting to do it. He talks about temptation bundling.
Hmm.
So maybe you love watching a certain show. Only let yourself watch it while you're on the exercise bike. Or listen to your favorite podcast only while you're prepping healthy meals. You link the effort with something genuinely appealing. You leverage dopamine.
Okay, bundling temptation. I like that.
Yeah.
Makes sense. What's law 3?
Law 3 is make it easy. This is huge. It's all about reducing friction. The less effort a habit takes, the more likely you are to actually do it, especially consistently.
Right, make the path of least resistance the good path.
Exactly. So if you want to eat more fruit, don't just buy it. Wash it, cut it up right away, put it front and center in the fridge, make it grab and go easy. You remove those little barriers, those micro decisions that can derail you when you're tired or busy.
Yeah, those little things add up. Okay, so
Okay.
obvious, attractive, easy. What's the last one?
The fourth law is make it satisfying. This is critical for making habits stick long term. Our brains need some kind of immediate reward or feedback after we do something to tell us, hey, that was good, do it again.
Immediate gratification.
Precisely. If a habit feels good right away, even in a small way, you're much more likely to repeat it. It closes the habit loop in your brain. Without that satisfaction, maybe it's just crossing something off a list, seeing a streak on a calendar, or even just a moment of pride. Your brain doesn't strongly link the action to a positive outcome. It makes it way harder to keep going.
It's really powerful how these 4 laws tie into basic human psychology, isn't it? Simple ideas, but they seem incredibly effective if you actually apply them.
They really are. You're essentially redesigning your world and your own reward system to make good habits almost automatic.
Okay, that covers building the good habits. But let's face it, we all have habits we want to get rid of,
Yeah.
the ones that aren't serving us.
Yeah.
So what does Clear say about those? How do we tackle the bad habits?
Yeah, that's the other side of the coin, and he has an equally elegant approach. You basically just reverse the 4 laws.
Reverse them. How so?
Well, to break a bad habit, first, instead of making it obvious, you make it invisible.
Okay, hide the cues.
Exactly. Remove the triggers from your environment. If you snack mindlessly on chips, don't keep them in the house, or at least put them somewhere really inconvenient. Out of sight, out of mind. Partially, anyway.
Makes sense. What's next?
Instead of attractive, you make it unattractive. You consciously focus on the downsides, the negative consequences of the bad habit. Remind yourself why you want to stop. Frame it in a way that removes its appeal.
So actively think about why it's bad for you.
Right. Then, instead of easy, you make it difficult. Increase the friction. If you want to watch less TV, maybe unplug it after each use and put the remote in another room. Add steps, make it a hassle.
Add friction. Got it.
Mm.
And the last one, satisfying becomes.
It becomes make it unsatisfying. You need to ensure there's no reward, maybe even a small immediate penalty for doing the bad habit. This breaks that positive feedback loop. Maybe you have an accountability partner you have to text and admit to every time you slip up. Or you put $1 in a jar for a cause you don't like, something that makes it feel a little bit painful right away.
I love the symmetry there. It's the same framework, just flipped. But making bad habits unsatisfying, that feels like the hardest part sometimes.
Hmm.
People try that and fail. What's the trick to making it actually work?
That's a great point. It often is the hardest. I think the key Clear emphasizes is the immediacy of the unsatisfying consequence. Our brains are really good at ignoring future problems. Oh, smoking might hurt me in 20 years. Doesn't work as well as something that feels bad now.
Right now. Okay.
So it needs to be an immediate cost. Maybe it's tracking it visibly, like on a calendar with big red X's, which can feel surprisingly bad. Or that accountability partner call you have to make right then. Or a small financial fine you impose on yourself immediately. It's about making the immediate experience of the bad habit less pleasant than the alternative, which is often just doing nothing or doing the good habit.
That makes a lot of sense. Hack the brain's reward system in reverse. Okay, so beyond the 4 laws and their inverses, the book has other tools too, doesn't it? Supplemental strategies.
Oh, absolutely. He offers several really practical techniques that build on the main framework. One is habit stacking. This is super useful. You link a new habit you want to start to an existing habit you already do automatically.
Okay, like piggybacking.
Exactly. The formula is, after current habit, I will new habit. So after I brush my teeth, I will meditate for 2 minutes. Your existing habit, brushing your teeth, becomes the cue for the new one. It slots right in.
Simple, but clever. Takes the guesswork out of when to do it.
Yeah, leverages routines you already have. Another big one is environment design. We touched on it with make it obvious and make it invisible, but it's broader. It's about consciously shaping your physical and social surroundings to support your goals.
Being the architect of your environment.
You got it. Your environment subtly guides your behavior constantly. So, want to reduce screen time? Maybe designate your bedroom a phone-free zone. Put the phone charging in the living room overnight.
Making it harder to slip up.
Right. Make the good choices the easy default choices based on how your space is set up. It can be your best friend or your worst enemy in habit formation. And finally, something crucial, track and reflect.
Keeping score?
Kind of. Monitoring your progress is incredibly motivating. It shows you're making headway, builds momentum, and it helps you spot where things might be going wrong. It could be super simple, just putting an X on a calendar each day you do your habit, creates a chain you don't want to break, or using an app. The act of tracking itself often feels satisfying, which reinforces the habit, hitting law 4.
These really are practical tools.
Yeah.
Habit stacking, designing your environment, tracking.
Mhm.
It feels like a complete toolkit for actually making changes happen, not just wishful thinking.
Exactly. It moves beyond just willpower into practical systems.
So let's tie it all together. We've talked about the power of small habits, identity, the 4 laws, breaking bad habits, these extra tools. Why does all this matter for the listener? What's the ultimate payoff that Atomic Habits points to?
Well, the benefits clear outlines are really tangible, things that impact your daily life and overall growth directly. First, building these habits systematically gives you discipline. But it's not the grit your teeth kind. It's the discipline that comes from making good choices almost automatic.
Effortless discipline, almost.
Kind of, yeah. Then, as you consistently follow through, your self-reliance grows, you start trusting yourself more, which boosts confidence. You also gain clarity. With consistent actions aligned with your goals, you develop better focus, cutting through the noise. And naturally, all of this leads to increased productivity. Not just being busy, but actually using your time and energy more effectively on the things that matter. Real progress.
Discipline, self-reliance, focus, productivity.
Yeah.
Those aren't small things. Those are pathways to really enhancing your life, aren't they? Accelerating that personal growth journey.
Absolutely. It's about empowering yourself to consistently move toward that person you want to become.
So Atomic Habits isn't just about, well, habits. It feels more like a guide to intentional self-development.
I think that's a great way to put it. The core message is so powerful because it's so accessible. That tiny seed of change, that atomic habit, if you nurture it consistently, the results, the fruit, can be truly enormous over time. And really, anyone who wants to manage their time better, maybe finally kick a bad habit or just feel more effective and more like the person they aspire to be, they stand to gain a lot from these ideas.
It really makes you stop and think, doesn't it? If just that tiny 1% improvement each day compounds into something huge, what larger identity are you already building, maybe unconsciously, with your current little habits, good or bad? And maybe more importantly,
Yeah.
where is that